Hey everyone, a nerd named Mark here, and guess what? It's time for a special episode of the podcast. For those of you watching on YouTube, it's just a regular video, but I haven't done a video version like this before. Usually, for the last couple of years, I will do what I like to call the preview and predictions for a wrestling pay-per-view. And obviously, WrestleMania 38 is coming up this weekend, and I'm traveling, and I'm going to be at a wedding and visiting family. So I was like, well, I might as well record my prediction video early since I'm going to be traveling. As of right now, all the matches I'm talking about are what I confirmed. Obviously, we still have the go-home shows, so things might change. Card subject to change. But usually, if you're listening to the podcast or if you're watching this, I always call it the unenthusiastic, predictions and cards because I'm a big wrestling fan. I grew up, I'm 36 years old. I grew up in Connecticut. So obviously, WWE headquarters in Stamford, Connecticut. Grew up watching wrestling, going to a lot of house shows, a lot of Raw, Smackdown in the tri-state area. Huge fan. I still am a fan of wrestling in general, not just WWE. And I like to, I don't like to talk about wrestling a lot from like podcasting and video standpoint, just because I casually watch now. I'm up to date on like a lot of stuff. I do watch, primarily Smackdown more than Raw, but thanks to social media and, YouTube and stuff like that, I keep up to date on everything that's going on. And I will preface this is a WWE video, but I do watch AEW. I really enjoy Impact Wrestling. I've been watching NWA Power since they started it back up with William Corgan putting all the stuff on YouTube. I keep up with a decent amount of the indie stuff, which is new for me in the last couple years or so because I never really was a big indie fan. Like I remember, driving and going to like Ring of Honor shows in like 2005, 2006, stuff like that. But I was never really, I got to absorb everything indie, and there's so many promotions now. And, I'm a fan of New Japan, Naito, one of my favorite Japanese wrestlers, actually in my top favorite wrestlers of all time. And so, yeah, that's just a quick little sidebar, little footnote that because I know when I talk about WWE stuff, people are like, oh, well, you only watch WWE. Like, if I make comments about indie stuff, they're like, oh, well, you usually only follow WWE guys and talk about WWE. It's like, well, that's because their stuff's more, like, easily accessible, and they're putting on these grand WrestleManias and they have a network, But that being said, WrestleMania 38 is this upcoming weekend, which is April 2nd and 3rd. It's 2 nights again. I'm okay with this. I think this is going to be permanent, and I'm 100% okay with permanent 2 nights. It's easier not to have to freaking dedicate a whole damn day to wrestling, like 8+ hours. Like, that's exhausting. And as someone who works full time and everything else going on, I legitimately cannot sit down at like, noon and just watch wrestling all day. It's not realistic. Also, I will not be talking about NXT Stand and Deliver. This is strictly WrestleMania only. I will say NXT 2.0 hasn't really grown on me. They're like, I'm an old school NXT guy. Like, I love the 2014, 2015, 2016, that 3-year era of NXT was so good. And I'm not saying everything after that was not good. Just for me personally, was when I enjoyed NXT the most. 2.0 is slowly growing on me. Big Dolph fan, so him being NXT champion, I'm like, oh, cool. Let me check out some NXT stuff. But this is strictly WrestleMania 38. So, I'm doing everything based off of just what is assumed for day one matches and the matches that are confirmed. Obviously, like I said, card subject to change. We still have 2 go home shows, so I don't know what exactly is going to happen. So this is what's listed as WrestleMania 38 day 1 matches. We have the Raw Women's Championship, Becky Lynch versus Bianca Bellar. Honestly, this whole big time Bex gimmick and everything else, like, I don't know how I feel about her character anymore. Like, when it was, when she was the man and everything went from like Survivor Series and getting busted open with her nose and like, and everything else leading up to like her WrestleMania like triple threat match with Ronda and Charlotte, all that stuff was so good. It felt organic. It felt really like just compelling, like where you wanted to know. Now I'm just like, up until her promo she just cut last Monday when she was sitting in the chair, this and that. Like, I wasn't invested in this at all. And it's nothing against her or Bianca Belair. I think Bianca Belair is easily, from an athletic standpoint, one of the top athletic females in that company. You cannot deny that. I just think from a character standpoint, there's something missing that's keeping her from like the upper echelon where, she's a name you'll remember 10, 15. That's why people still talk about like Trish versus Lita on Raw. Like, there's a reason why they still talk about them, not just because of the match, but because of just the rivalry that was there. And Bianca hasn't had that yet. And Becky is just, I don't know. It's her character just, she's trying to be meta, trying to be big time back. Like, get it. She's big time back. She is getting that good contract. She is, you know, she's basically become what she was going, like, talking trash to about like Ronda and Charlotte. Like, she's basically coming in, good money, getting her title back really quick, which I still had my issues with that, winning the belt so quickly, because Bianca had a WrestleMania moment. And I'm just like, well, does she get another wrestle? Like, I don't know where this is going to go. I personally think Becky's just going to win. I think it's going to be a good match, but I don't see Bianca Belair winning 2 WrestleManias in a row. Also, from that Becky's finally returned. She's a champion. They're probably going to build up something revolving around her and Ronda Rousey finally going one-on-one, not in a triple threat situation. So I'll probably get more into that when I talk about Ronda Rousey and Charlotte Flair. So as of right now, I have Becky Lynch winning and retaining over Bianca Belair. Next up, this is a tough one. The Miz and Logan Paul versus the Mysterios. It's only a tough one because usually when they bring in celebrities, the celebrities go over. And the Mysterios have been good. Like, it's great to see like Rey Mysterio back. Like, he has not missed a step. He is by far I really enjoy Lucha Libre. That style, I watched, a lot of Lucha Libre stuff, especially since moving to Southern California. The access to that style of wrestling was so much easier than when I lived in Connecticut. And I've enjoyed them as a tag team. I think, though, even though it was quick earlier on when he first returned, I feel like the tag team and the glint of that is kind of worn off. And I want to see both Rey and Dominic kind of in a singles situation. We have the opportunity for Dominic to be like, I don't want to be known as Rey Mysterio's son. I don't want to be in my father's shadow. It's my time. I'm here. I have my contract. I won tag team gold with you. That's cool. But look, I can handle myself. I got this. And maybe it's not like a heated like blood feud, but maybe it's just let me be on my own. Let me spread my wings. Let me get out from underneath your shadow. Even though he's taller than him, there could be some short jokes in there. I'm not opposed to short jokes. I'm not tall. I'm okay with that. But usually celebrities win. I think the good thing about the Miz and Logan Paul being heels is they can win unclean. So it's tough. I mean, logistically, just because it's a celebrity situation, usually I would go the Miz and Logan Paul. But because it's the Mysterios, I could also go towards the Mysterios. But I'm gonna have to go with the Miz and Logan Paul strictly because I'm a huge Miz fan. I've been a Misfit since the freaking long shorts, the fedora, the gloves. I think the Miz is one of the top heels in the company, has been for a very long time. I think he is a workhorse. And I think he is probably one of the just underrated because of where he came from, even though he's done all these things and he has his reality show and this and that. But let's face it, you can't argue with, he has consistency and he is a great heel. So I'm gonna have to go with the Miz and Logan Paul. That's it. I gotta go with it. Next up, Drew McIntyre and Happy Corbin. I feel like this feud has been going on for a really long time, especially with Madcap Moss. And I mean, I will give them credit, the fact that Corbin and McIntyre haven't actually had their match really, because Madcap Moss has been having the matches and tag matches and everything else. So it's like they're finally getting their one-on-one match, and I I don't care, and it sucks because I'm a Baron Corbin fan. In NXT mainly because his music was so good, his entrance music. I love the End of Days and Deep Six. I love those moves. There, I even put them on my creative wrestler and my Rise in 2K22. Like I enjoy those moves so much. And Corbin did point out something once. End of Days, people haven't been kicked out of it. Like it's been built up like as a good finisher. That's how it should be. But I don't know. I'm just gonna say I want Corbin to win, and only because I don't think Drew McIntyre is stale, because Drew McIntyre has one of the best theme songs in WWE. When he was, especially at the NXT Takeover Brooklyn, when they had the drum line and the bagpipers there, like that is one of my favorite themes. It's on my workout playlist. I love Drew McIntyre's theme so much, but I'm a huge Corbin fan, and I really feel like him getting the win at Mania over Drew McIntyre, someone who has won the title at Mania, someone who has been a two-time champion within the last 18 months, I think Corbin winning will finally elevate him up, because I don't mind Happy Corbin's gimmick. I mean, when he was broke and this and that was very entertaining, good TV. But I think Corbin finally should be elevated up the rankings a bit, because he's definitely an underutilized talent right now. So yeah, I'm gonna go with Happy Corbin. And next up, we have SmackDown Tag Team Championship: the Usos versus Rick Boogs and Shinsuke Nakamura. Okay, I'm a big Uso fan. Obviously, I'm gonna talk about who I'm fans of. Like the Usos, been down since day one. Obviously, I really enjoyed them. What really sold me on them was the whole feud with the New Day, when the brand split was real and the brands had their own pay-per-views. Their feud with New Day and like Hell in a Cell and all stuff, they carried the SmackDown pay-per-views on their backs. And I think, Shinsuke losing the IC title and everything, like, I don't know. Like, I don't see the. I mean, I can't keep having all the heels going over. So realistically, I can see Shinsuke and them finally getting the titles. But from a bloodline standpoint, you got Roman as a champion, you got the Usos as a champion. It makes it, it works when all of them are champions. And I really think the Usos should retain, just because they are one of the best tag teams in the company. They are consistent. They can cut good promos, so they can carry storylines. Rick and Shinsuke, entertaining. I like, he plays the guitar for the entrance, all that other stuff. King Nakamura for a while there, but it's just, I don't know. I just want the Usos to win, and I feel like they will. But realistically, they're probably going to drop the titles. And then we have, I don't know. This is a weird feud. I don't even know. Edge versus AJ Styles. All right. Edge, doing his open challenge, and then AJ Styles. It's a dream match, and I don't know. The build-up's been awkward. Like Edge with this weird heel, whatever character, and like, him wanting AJ to be this pit bull. Like AJ is AJ Styles. Okay, I don't know where this is gonna go, because both of them, like, you can't be like, well, neither one of them is gonna get the rub from putting the other person over. Like AJ is established, okay? Edge is established. Edge is a Hall of Famer. AJ is a guaranteed Hall of Famer. So it's kind of like one of those. It's basically just like when they did, what was that? When they were doing like SummerSlam or Survivor Series, where it was like, oh, these are all your dream matchups, whatever, Warfare or whatever, and this is like one of those ones where it's like, I don't care who wins. This is going to be good, because you got two wrestlers I've seen almost their full careers. Like I remember AJ, in all of the Impact Wrestling stuff. Some of it didn't work. Some of it did. Ring of Honor, New Japan, WWE. So it's like, just seeing these two actually have a one-on-one match at a Mania, that's kind of like just checking off, a box of matches we wish we could see. So, just from where they both are in terms of careers, AJ just got out of being in a tag team with the Omos for so long. I think I would put AJ Styles over. I want AJ. I am gonna pick AJ Styles, obviously. Like, that's what I'm picking, only because we need to get him back into the face that runs the place. We need him being a top guy again and going up the ladder, because being in a tag team for that long, it was great. He got to work with Omos, and obviously that kind of added some time to his career, being able in a tag team, because you're not in a full match. So I think from the standpoint of AJ winning gets him back in the upper echelon of a singles competitor, and whereas Edge is Edge. Edge has punched his ticket. He can do whatever he wants. But I think from the standpoint where AJ has been for the last year and a half, this is a win that I think he should have. And obviously I wanted to see the match, so I'm gonna pick AJ Styles. This is really weird. So they have also on day one the SmackDown Women's Championship between Charlotte Flair and Ronda Rousey. Obviously Ronda winning the Royal Rumble. I was like, okay, well, we know she's going after Charlotte. That wasn't even a question, okay? And I don't care about this match at all. I really don't. Ronda's promos come off very awkward. There's a certain delivery that's missing, and I feel like she's talking too much. The one thing though at the Royal Rumble, her and freaking Shayna Baszler, I was just like, okay, this is what I want. I want Ronda versus Shayna Baszler. I want them in a feud. I was like, put them in as a tag team first, and then, kind of build it up, and then them kind of being like competitive with each other in their matches. Be like, look at this armbar I can do. Well, look at my armbar. It's like, yeah, but you won the match from tapping out, but it took them like 45 seconds to tap out. It took me 33 seconds. Like, obviously I make them tap faster. So you do this kind of like friendly competition where they're not trying to go against each other, but they're actually one-upping each other against their opponents. Then you lead into the dissension where it's like, fine, you keep doing better. This, like, let's go, let's do this. And then they have a night. Like, that's what I would have did, then went into the single standpoint. But obviously it's Ronda Rousey. And mainly my bringing up Shayna Baszler is because Shayna Baszler in NXT, holy shit. Then she came into WWE, that whole Elimination Chamber where she just wiped the floor with everybody, and then lost to Becky. And it wasn't even her even performing half as much as she did in Elimination Chamber. So mainly my thing is, I think Shayna Baszler and Ronda Rousey should be in a program, either as a team or against each other. It needs to happen. From this standpoint, obviously Ronda's gonna win. Okay, mainly because Charlotte's had the belt, I don't know, like 50 times, and I feel like I'm in the minority on social media where I don't dislike Charlotte Flair. I don't hate Charlotte Flair. There's a reason why they put the title on her. She's consistent. She can put on good matches. She's a workhorse, so it's like one of those things where it's like, and she's a name. Her name is a draw. No disrespect, because I am a fan, but if it was Ronda Rousey versus Liv Morgan, people wouldn't be talking about it nearly as much as if it was Charlotte Flair versus Ronda Rousey, or Naomi, who I think deserves another title run. Naomi is phenomenal, but that's the thing. It's like Charlotte Flair and Ronda Rousey is a headlining name that people are going to tune in for. It's going to be picked up on ESPN. It's going to be picked up on all these other states, like, because it's Ronda Rousey, it's Charlotte Flair. So you have to think the biggest show of the year, you're going to have the biggest names against each other that are going to pull in viewership from people who aren't always already watching. You have to think from that standpoint. You can't always have your favorites in every match and every title and this and that. They're a business. They have to make money. Charlotte Flair versus Ronda Rousey is a money match, 100%. I'm not even going to deny it. My bias and my personal opinion aside, no. From a logistics standpoint, that is a money match. It's going to make money, and people are going to want it. They're going to be talking about it. Me, on the other hand, Ronda Rousey's going over, because and she'll hold the title for a while. Because if we do the whole Survivor Series thing where it's like SmackDown versus Raw to an extent, we'll probably get Becky versus Ronda. That'll be the one-on-one that, you know, everyone has wanted to see that we haven't seen yet, and we're finally going to get it. This is really weird though. The close of the show is gonna be Stone Cold Steve Austin appearing on the KO show with Kevin Owens. There's been some wording from Stone Cold on social media and in interviews where it makes it seem like it's gonna be a match. So my theory is it'll start as a talk show. Words will be said. You know, Kevin Owens might say something like, you know, and hey, I'm in my prime and you in your prime couldn't beat me. And then something will happen. There'll be some dissension and a match will happen. Kind of like with the Wyatt family and The Rock when he came out. Next thing you know, he pinned Eric Rowan in like 3 seconds. You know, there's going to be that situation where it's going to start off as a talk show, but it's going to end with a match, a legitimate match. Whether or not it's a full match, like 10, 12, 15 minutes, probably not. But it will be, there will be a referee, there will be a pin count, and there will be a winner, and it's going to be Stone Cold. Because it's in Texas. KO has been slinging mud and talking shit about Texas. There's no way they're going to have all that just for Stone Cold to, like, have a quick match and lose, you know? So that's a weird way, though, to end night one, honestly. And have both women's tag, like, singles titles on that show. I don't understand that either. So day 2 matches we have, and it's not in any particular order. We have Roman Reigns as the Universal Champion versus Brock Lesnar, WWE Champion, winner takes all. This honestly has been so weird because at day 1, you know, we had Roman testing positive, so he couldn't. Then they threw Brock in the Fatal 4-Way to make it a Fatal 5-Way. He wins the title. And then, you know, and then at the Royal Rumble, Roman cost Brock the title to Lashley, and then at Elimination Chamber, Brock won it back. Yeah, that happened. And now they're facing off in title versus title. This has actually been really entertaining. I like this carefree Brock. After seeing Brock on like the Pat McAfee show, and then actually saw him on this YouTube channel with like these butchers and this and that. Like I wish Brock did more like interview style stuff, because and like kind of like a peek behind the curtain, because like he is such a nice dude, like very nice dude, and entertaining and funny. Like I was like, holy crap! Like this is giving me like the 2002 Brock vibes when he was feuding with like Angle and like Eddie and stuff like that, where he was just carefree, no Heyman as a mouthpiece, just carefree Brock. That's what it's reminding me of, and I'm really enjoying it. But for this match, this is the toughest one, because Lesnar doesn't need a title. He really doesn't. He doesn't need a championship. He is Brock Lesnar. He prints money. Roman Reigns as the tribal chief, though, you want to solidify this tribal chief. Like you want to get that ego to the next level and just turn up the heel a little bit more, and all the trash talking, you put both belts on Roman. And I think that's what they're gonna do. Me personally, I've been a Roman fan. I never, like, I always saw the potential there. I think even when he was being shoved down our throats and this and that, you could see the improvement that needed. Like the first time he feuded with Cena, even I was like, man, he needs to not be scripted so much. Like he is trying to remember all the stuff. He's jumbling his word. Like it's just not working for him. And let's face it, a lot of wrestlers have been like that. And then when they get a little more control and less scripted, they get better. So I've seen the evolution of Roman Reigns in WWE, and it has been really good. I think him having both belts will just make it that much better, you know. And so, yeah, let's face it, Roman with both belts being on both shows will definitely bolster viewership. And that's not to say Brock being on there, but the thing is with Brock, he's been so decisive and dominant where if he loses, it's not a clean finish. Whereas Roman, he's more of a heel when he wins, or he'll get a clean win. And I feel like him being on both shows, especially having Paul Heyman with him, and from a promo and character standpoint, there's more stories and feuds and rivalries that could work out with him as having both championships compared to Brock, because then it's like, oh, it's Brock Lesnar. Well, is it believable that someone like Finn Balor can beat Brock? No. But Finn Balor versus Roman, yes. You know, same with Corbin and McIntyre. You know, you still got Lashley who's injured, who's going to be coming back. Like, there's a lot more versatility with Roman having both belts and being on both shows than there is with Brock, sadly. That's not to say Brock isn't Brock. Brock is Brock, okay? Brock could still win. Brock could still Brock the match. But I'm going to go with Roman Reigns for this one. Next up, we have the Women's Tag Team Championship. It's going to be Queen Zelina and Carmella as the champions versus Naomi and Sasha Banks, Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan, and Natalya and Shayna Baszler. This is weird. Why are all these people in tag team? Like, the Naomi and Sasha Banks tag team, I get it. They were in Team Bad back when, you know, there was, you know, Paige and everyone else in there. Everyone had like those little 3-person like units in the women's division. Natalya and Shayna Baszler, honestly, you got a submissionist and a technician. It's just, I don't know. I think after Nia Jax's situation, that Shayna Baszler should have been repackaged, should have came back as that like killer, that singles competitor. Same with Natalya. Natalya doesn't need to be in a tag team. Same with Rhea Ripley. Like, I mean, she just was in a tag team with Nikki Ash, and now she's with Liv Morgan, and Liv Morgan was literally number one contender months ago facing off against Becky. And I don't know, I just hate this whole let's throw people together in a tag team with just because. And I'm like, man. So even looking at this, obviously Naomi and Sasha Banks are going to win strictly because Naomi deserves a title, and I don't think she's had the tag team titles, and she if she's not going to be in the main singles title scene and winning the title, I would at least feel like utilize her, give her the tag team titles with Sasha, let them, you know, kind of carry that division, and I don't know, maybe set up some real female tag teams. Because before we had actual tag teams, we had the Riot Squad, we had the Iconics, you know, we had Sasha and Bayley, which made sense as a tag team, and now it's like they're just throwing people together as a tag team, and I'm just like, man, this is not. It's not doing it for me. So, yeah, I'm gonna go with Naomi and Sasha Banks because I don't want Shayna Baszler and Natalya to win, because I just don't want Shayna Baszler to be a tag team champion. I want Shayna Baszler, singles competitor, dominating, tapping everybody out, and going back for a title. She deserves a title. She deserves a singles title in WWE. Go back and watch her NXT stuff, and she's gotten so much better, like breaking out of her shell and getting a little more swag and charisma to her. Like, you know, you can't deny the progress she's made, and she needs to go in the singles direction after Mania. Pat McAfee versus Austin Theory. Honestly, I don't care about this feud, but I like Pat McAfee. All right, Pat McAfee's entertaining. He's great on commentary. I watched his show when Vince McMahon was on there and he gave him the match this and that. I was like, oh, that's cool. That's actually really cool. Then Austin Theory, is it me or is Austin Theory kind of got the Drew McIntyre chosen one like character this time around? They do that every once in a while because, you know, Drew McIntyre had it. I feel like Mr. Kennedy kind of had it at one point, to an extent, but not as like in your face verbatim. But like Drew McIntyre had the chosen one, and I feel like Austin Theory is like this era's chosen one. Not to deny the skill. I mean, he's a good heel, obnoxious, annoying, but he can go in the ring. Pat McAfee, obviously War Games, everything else. Like, Pat McAfee is very entertaining. I think I feel like Austin Theory is going to get the win just because they need to start elevating Austin Theory. And yes, Austin Theory beating a commentator doesn't seem like it would be that big of a deal, but given Pat McAfee is an athlete, football player. He was in War Games. His feud thing with Adam Cole was great. I could see. So there is a realistic thing where Pat McAfee could win. But I'm going to go with Austin Theory for this one, because we need to push him into like a mid-title. You know, have him look at that US championship or the IC champion, something. We got to get him up there. Sami Zayn versus Johnny Knoxville. I don't freaking care. another celebrity match. This time a singles match though. It's been entertaining though with the social media side of all this stuff, but from a match standpoint, I don't care. So I don't care who wins. Obviously, same at the end of the day, Sami Zayn's a wrestler. Johnny Knoxville is not. So yeah, I'm just glad it's not for the IC title. I'm glad that Johnny Knoxville was able to distract and cause Ricochet to pin Zayn for the title. Because if it was for the IC title, then right when they said it, like a lot of people were pissed when that was rumored. Like we're for the IC title. This is like ridiculous. What a waste of this belt. But speaking of, I don't see any as of right now. There's been no announcements for the IC or the US title. I believe both or one of them is in the Andre the Memorial Battle Royal, and I'm like, you're gonna put your singles champions in there? Like, I think both are in it actually. I don't know. Like my list doesn't really say. So yeah, I don't know what's going on with those titles. That's it. I'll go after the match, like the last match. I'm gonna talk about like how I would structure 2-night WrestleMania. So next up we have the Raw Tag Team Championships, RK Bro versus the Street Profits versus Alpha Academy. Okay, Gable's really come into his own. He's really reminding me of like Angle in his prime, especially with the shoosh. Like that is ridiculously entertaining, and it gets stuck in my head, and it shouldn't be as entertaining as it is, and it is. It's thoroughly amusing to me, and it shouldn't be, but it is. I'm gonna buy a shoosh t-shirt. I am. It's gonna happen. Because of everything going on, like all three of these teams were champions within the last year, especially RK Bro. They've won it a few times. I was hoping the original rumors of Orton versus Riddle one-on-one at Mania would have been a thing, because I feel like they're entertaining as a tag team, but I want to see them face off. I really do. Like, you could even set it up that like Orton's getting mad and that Riddle keeps using the RKO. And you know, there's so many ways they could have done it. Alpha Academy, because they just recently lost the titles. I don't know if they'll gain them back. Same with Street Profits. After day one in the Senate, dude, Montez Ford is a star. And I've said it the last couple times, like tweeting this and that. Like, I want him to be like, not like a douchebag heel, but I want him to be like overconfident, like, I know my abilities. Look at me go. Look like the braggadocious heel. I want him to be a heel so bad. In a singles, like it would work so good for him. And so, like, looking at this, like, I feel like we're gonna get the Mania moment for RK Bro. I feel like they're gonna keep the titles, but there's no denying the skill of Alpha Academy and the Street Profits. It's just, I can't keep having all these heels. I can't keep picking all these heels, and you know, and like there's nothing on the line. I'm just, you know, talking about the matches. I would love for the Alpha Academy to win. I think they're great as a tag team. They got to keep it up. But RK Bro is also entertaining. But they're getting kind of stale to me personally. And I'm just going to go with RK Bro retaining the titles, but I wish Alpha Academy would win and we would get Montez Ford as a single star. I could see him as IC champion before the year is over. I could see him winning it before SummerSlam or on SummerSlam. I could realistically see Montez Ford being the IC champion before the year is over. So that's it for confirmed cards. There's some rumors, obviously, you know, Seth Rollins versus Cody Rhodes, things like that. I don't know. I'm not going to go into rumors. That's not my thing. I don't, you know, if it's, like I said, I'm going over confirmed matches. So it hasn't been confirmed. It's not a thing to me. That's that. Unless it happens on Raw or on Smackdown. Like, unless something happens in the go home shows. As of right now, recording it, it is Sunday, the 27th. So I don't know. It's not confirmed. So that's my predictions for WrestleMania 38. Really quickly, I want to say how I would structure things because it's 2 nights. So say you have the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal on the pre-show night 1. I would set it up so the winner obviously gets a statue, but I feel like almost like a Royal Rumble situation, they could, you know, go after a mid-card title. for night 2. So say hypothetically, you know, Damian Priest wins Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. He wants his freaking US title back. He's like, all right, I'm picking Finn. So night 2, Finn is going to, you know, defend against Damian Priest. And whereas, like, you know, the IC title, you know, I don't know how you would structure with like the other mid card title. Maybe have something working in the background to be like, you know, they'll have a match. But there, with 2 nights, you can have it engaging where it's like if someone knows which nights have all the matches already, people are gonna pick and choose. Like, oh, night 1 looks great. I don't want to waste all my time. Let me watch night 1 and I'll check night 2 on the highlights on social media. You know, whereas you could go and be like, hey, night 1, there's implications of things that happen in night 1 are going to affect night 2. And now you have more story, more draw, more reason to go check out night 2 and more investment in the matches. Because with all the pay-per-views, they have so many pay-per-views, it's kind of just like some feuds you're just, except for like Roman and Brock, that's been a thing, but like some feuds, like in matches, I feel like were set up 3 weeks ago. And it's like, this is not the road to WrestleMania. This is the quick walk to the convenience store to WrestleMania. But that's it for my predictions and thoughts on WrestleMania 38. Let me know in the comments below what you think of the matches. Who do you got winning? I'm going to be doing, I don't do a lot of, you know, wrestling videos. I dabble in them, especially videos I don't, but like from a podcast, I do talk about wrestling from time to time. I am going to get more into more wrestling stuff because I want to talk about more wrestling stuff on videos. Now I got a good setup and everything else. Like I can finally create more I can finally start creating the wrestling content I want to. So with that being said, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to comment. Let me know what you thought about WrestleMania 38. What are your thoughts on the match card? Who you got winning? And I will see you guys in the next video because I will be doing a post WrestleMania review like I did the last couple years for the podcast, and I'll be doing video versions. So I thank you guys for watching. See you guys in the next video.